Good evening. Good evening. Hey, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to take notes. So I'd like to know what you are interested in. So I know is there anybody that has any questions or anything that I can help with? Any questions about the city? Anything that you'd like to know?
Anybody got any questions about the city or anything they'd like to know?
I do, Larry. I definitely do.
I know you told me you were going to ask something.
About the city, all I can tell you is it sucks.
Yeah.
What's not the project?
Yeah, the council did not approve the borrowing. So in order to put the solar field on there, we had to have the council approve. It was gonna be paid from the mayor's edit funds, but you have to get council approval to borrow long-term. So we had to borrow to fill that field with solar. And then.
Could you tell me this? He said some of these guys here tonight stopped it on the tower.
I don't think so, no. No, nobody here tonight. Yes, ma'am.
What's the old jail gonna be then? Apartments or something?
What's the what?
The old jail gonna
It's apartments.
be? Why? I mean, we needed that jail to rehabilitate the city.
You got a new
Well,
one.
the county built a new
And
jail.
I quit doing the gun shooting, maybe, you know?
Yeah, the county built a new jail on the south side. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. The county built a new jail on the south side of Muncie, and they gave it to us, and we put it out there and got requests for proposals, and that was the best proposal. So it's a local company building that, and they've had some success in some other projects, and we wish them well. But it'll be 15 apartments, is what I'm told.
Mayor, I got a question about that.
Yeah.
So, just so you know, just because we had to do our own research and that's
Sure.
kind of our business here, I went up there personally into that jail. We figured out that contractor was not even a licensed contractor. Then, so it was a house out here in Cowan. Then I had one member's son, but one not. Two apprentices that came in here. We told them, they said they worked at the jail doing demolition, and they want to join our apprenticeship program. Great, right? All you gotta do is bring me check stubs that says you've been doing work at that jail, right? Just bring me check stubs. Not one, but both of these two, and their parents came at me and said, Sean, they've been working there for a year and haven't paid one red cent in taxes.
He paid with cash.
So they dropped our apprenticeship here because they couldn't prove this,
That they were working.
that they were working. So I went up there, took pictures while the building was wide open and got kicked out of there so we wouldn't find out like where that equipment was. Just letting you know that like if it is above water, it's above water, but they're not above water, right? It may be a local business that's striving somewhere, but they totally fucked us, right?
Okay.
They did. And they screwed these two kids out of a good career just to do the demolition for that project while it was being built or it was demoed.
So what are the the guys doing now? Are they working somewhere else? Were
Yeah.
they getting pay stubs?
Sure they have.
Okay.
Yeah, because we couldn't give them credit for that, so
Yeah.
they didn't want to start at 75% when they then had 2,500 hours work experience.
Sure.
Right.
But
So I'm just letting you know, like.
Yeah,
that's
no, I
what
appreciate
happened.
that.
We're regulated by the DOL, so we have to approve their work experience to give them
Sure.
credit.
But they're working somewhere else, so hopefully they can come back and join you later, is what you're saying?
We don't
I
know.
don't know if they will or not, but yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Years of experience on taxes.
Okay.
Mr. Barber.
Was there ever any certified payroll on that job at the old jail? And also, why did the taxpayers pay the utility bills on that building for so long?
Well, as you know from the economic development agreement that I believe you got a copy of,
No, we never could get it.
well, I know it was shared with the paper, it was shared with a podcaster, it was shared with a couple other citizens that asked for it. It stated that during the initial stage of construction that we would pay the utilities, it amounted about $48,000 when all was said and done.
After we gave them $650,000 to remodel the building and have a contract with them for 30 years for parking spaces, which comes to about $1.4 million, roughly, give or take.
So we did provide them with some money for infrastructure to help them with getting that started. The only thing we were concerned with was the parking. We don't have anything to do with the apartments. They got financing from, I believe, Merchants Bank to do all of that.
But the $1.5 million is pretty close to being accurate.
For 30 years, I don't know what it is, but I know it was $11,000 a year for 30 years.
And then $650,
So
we
that's
sold it to them for
$300.
$100, give them $650,000 to remodel it, and paid their utilities for 6 months to a year.
No, actually, we paid $600,000 for infrastructure to remodel it.
Okay.
The $650 includes the utilities. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's already, they are on the tax roll now. It's been a property that's not been on the tax rolls for 50+ years. So long-term, we feel pretty confident that will be a good investment for the city. And it would have cost $600,000 to demolish it as well. So the option was to go into debt with a new developer, which we didn't want to do. We didn't feel like the city was financially able to do that. That's been one of the problems in the past. We go into debt for every single project, and we just didn't want to do that. And so that's why we told the county we would prefer that you not demolish it, give it to us as is, let us see if we can find something. And they used, we used those funds to help them get that started.
Are we still paying, and when I say we, are the taxpayers still paying the utility bills on that place?
No, no.
They quit January 31st, like
Yeah.
the contract said it would.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now, we may have paid in February, but that would have been for utilities up to
I
January
understand that.
31st.
I understand that. That's
Yeah,
the final month and
absolutely.
everything, so. Okay.
And that's how we structured the deal to make it flow. Yep. What other questions? Yes, sir.
My questions are these roads. Man, these city streets, a lot of us here ride motorcycles, or we get out and enjoy, and other things. And it feels like anymore we're spending more time dodging potholes and craters. I mean, I've watched damn near 2 people lay their bikes down on Martin Luther King coming around the bend just over the other side of the bridge where it comes straight up, because there was a hole that my whole ankle and foot would go in that hole. They just keep putting patch in it, and it comes out within a month.
Yep.
And it seems like every spot along the main roads are trash. I mean, there's a couple businesses that I know that's went with the Boys and Girls Club in Muncie, and they came down here and they said these are the worst roads they've ever been on, that they've ever came to in town. I mean, I know for a fact I busted 2 rims on my vehicle and a tire, and
Me too.
the city tells us, oh, we'll get back with you, and I've never gotten my stuff replaced.
Yep. Well, I appreciate that. I'll tell you, when we took over, the street department fund was negative it was overdrawn by $1.9 million. I reached out to the state. I asked them, is it possible for us to pay that back over time? And they said, no, it's been on the audit report for multiple years. It has to be paid back. So that first year in 2020, we were not allowed to pave anything. We had to pay all that money back. This is for previous years. We had to pay back $1.9 million, which we did. Last year, we paved 68 streets. Normally, the city would pave about 24, and not one of them. And so normally we'd do about 24, 25. We did 68. This year we're doing 54. We also bought equipment to do a lot of this work ourselves with our street department crew. What you're going to find is most of the local the little streets we're going to be doing with our own crews. So we have a paving machine and a milling machine to handle that. And then the larger contractors are doing the big ones, like we're doing. Meeker is getting done. Burlington is getting done. Riverside and University are both getting done.
What contractor doing that?
I don't know. I don't know. Typically EMB is the last time EMB was the only one that bid. We've had a couple others in that first year that bid, but EMB tends to be the only one that bids for
What about
those.
Madison and Walnut? Those are
Yeah,
two main roads that are
yeah,
horrible.
I know they are. The challenge is there's just not enough, there's not enough money. We have to price them to what we can do. And, you know, we also have put the money back to do the matching grant. Technically, the metropolitan planning, the county, through the Metropolitan Planning Association, is supposed to do the larger streets. They're supposed to do the thoroughfares like Tillotson and McGalliard. Those are federal projects. And so because we're a metropolitan statistical area, those funds go, for federal government gives them to the Metropolitan Planning Association. Those are ones to where we have to match 20%. We put that 20% back, so we have it. We already have done all the engineering. Is about $1 million to do the engineering on those two streets. So we're ready to go on those as soon as the federal government gives us the 80%. But it's $11 million to do Tillotson and McGalliard, and we have a $4 million budget per year for the whole street department. So we'd have to shut down the street department for 3 years to do it without the federal government. So we have to do it when the federal government says we will pay for it, the 80%. But we do expect for that to get done next year. I do not expect it to get done this year.
Is there any-
Tillotson and McGalliard.
Is there anybody that's gonna monitor the work that is being done? Like, for example, right down here around the 14th Street area, DC Construction Services came in, they did that work last year. I know how to do asphalt. They did not do that asphalt right. They put 1.5-inch overlay on it. They didn't mill it down right. You got risers sticking up this far, and you got risers sitting down that low. Why waste the money if those contractors, if nobody's gonna police the work that they're doing?
Yep, no, and I agree with you, and
So,
we asked the
it's
council,
free.
we asked the council to give us permission to hire somebody to do inspections, and they voted that down as far as the funding. But that happened during the change of city engineers. I don't think you'll see DC Construction much
No,
anymore.
because of the certification.
Yeah.
So is there gonna be, any kind of RBOs or anything that are gonna be enforced more to be able to say, you know, yeah, they can do the work, but is it gonna be quality work? Because there's no point wasting all of our tax dollars for a company that you know is not gonna do it right.
Yep.
Just taking the cheap homer.
Well, I think you'll find that EMB is the only one that's gonna bid, going forward.
Well, Milestone has an office here now.
That would be great. We hope that they bid on things. We hope that they give us options. But sometimes you get stuck. If you only get one company, you have to use them. But we have a city engineer now. So they are inspecting those things now. When that particular problem happened, it was when we had one city engineer leave and another one started. So we agree there was problems, and we pointed that out.
There's, infrastructure grants out available now, crossing grants, community crossing grants, yeah.
Yeah, we've submitted for the full, and every year that I've been in office, we've gotten the full match from the state, and we have submitted and are asking for another full match, which is $1 million. I've also been, talking with, it's not gonna happen this year, but we said that cities over 50,000 should get more than $1 million if they can match it. And I also said cities like Fort Wayne and Indianapolis, which have terrible streets as well, they should get more than we get at 50,000, because a small town of 10,000 can get $1 million. Muncie of 65,000 can only get $1 million. So it's very helpful to the smaller communities. I don't want to take from them, but it wouldn't take much. And I pointed this out to the legislators, but didn't do any good. But I pointed it out that if you take that to 2 million, we could really help improve the streets, because we'd come up with the money to match it. And I said Indianapolis should be at 5 million. The state should be putting in 5 million, and it would only cost the state about $18 million to do that, because there aren't that many cities over 50,000. But they didn't bite on that. But we've pointed that out. It all takes money, as you all know, to do all the jobs you do. It takes money for those companies and/or those municipalities and government entities to hire you guys to do that work. And it's just a real challenge. It's just like everything else. I mean, everywhere you go, it's more expensive, and it's the same for the city. And we do not, and have not, and do not intend to raise taxes. We don't feel like that's the way we wanna go, so we've tried to be careful with the spending. We've
Our
brought the
taxes
balance,
did
the
raise.
books on, they're all balances, I'm sorry,
Our taxes did raise.
Property taxes.
not the rates.
Oh.
So if the county may have increased the assessments, on the property tax.
Well, the rates are capped by the state though, right?
Yeah, they're capped by the state.
They're not capped by the city, they're capped by the
Correct.
state.
They're capped by
So
the
you
state.
can't raise those anyhow.
No,
All you can do
No.
is raise the value of the property.
well, or we can raise,
You
we could
don't
raise
accept-
we could raise local taxes, but we're not interested in doing that. Those were raised, in the
They did
previous
that.
administration, but we're not interested in raising the taxes.
No, the county done it. The county
did.
raised your assessment value.
Yeah,
of
the
your
county
property.
does that to the assessor's office, it's a county position. So what else can I help you with, guys?
Mayor, I think that, we here as a local, we just want you to know that we're 1,000 families strong right here, the fourth biggest employer in Delaware County. And we're asking just that you help us get more work in this area, right? Like local contractors, we've got reports of 900 contractors that we're affiliated with. We'd like to be able to hand over that full entire list to you. And for any bidding that's going on, I just heard you say that EMB was the only bidder. Great, EMB is one of ours, but at the same time, there could be a lot more bids going in if you had all of our signature reports,
Well,
right?
they put it out to public bid.
If there's anything we could ever help with, right? We just want you to understand,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of us, we're driving to Hamilton County, I know you're working deals to bring Hamilton County people here to live, right? That was a great deal, I'm totally cool with that, but we're driving there to go to work.
I know, it's
Right.
frustrating.
The majority of our
It's,
work
you
is in
know,
Hamilton County.
Yep.
We just wanna see more work, right?
Yep, and we want to see more work here, and that's what we want. And you have to, we feel like we've turned the corner, and we're starting on an upward tick, and, you know, we now have developers calling us, and looking at what can we do in the city of Muncie, and that'll be positive. So but you have to stabilize the finances, which we've done, and you've got to, and then provide the other services. So we're working on the roads. We know that in the last 2 years, according to the independent assessment, we went from 52.8 to 61, which is still bad. But we've made good improvement, and we think after this year, you'll see a lot more. You'll see a lot more. And so that hopefully, when you're riding your motorcycle, you're not gonna have that problem. But it's gonna take time, and it's gonna take patience. Yes, ma'am?
What is, the progress with the Southway Plaza? I see no progress over there whatsoever.
Yep, they are not leasing any space because they've had difficulty getting in their HVAC equipment. That's now been told that it's on its way, and that should be put in. As soon as that gets put in, then they're gonna start leasing
Who's
again.
doing that work over there though? Is there work going on over there?
Yeah, right now, it's only Fredericks doing the demolition of the parking lot. That's the only work that we're doing. Now, the owner of the building has been doing some roofing work, is I'm understanding, and has ordered brand-new heating and air conditioning units, which are due to be delivered sometime in the next couple of months. Once that happens, then they'll start leasing it again. But they just felt like they shouldn't lease it. And the owners of that building are moving in an IT hub. And they're actually here next week. They're putting in about 50 jobs, IT jobs. So part of that space is gonna go in there, but they knew they couldn't move in there if you don't have heat and air. And that's been a real problem. In fact, we've got one of the units that's in there, two of the units that are in there are heated with portable equipment because they can't get the systems that were in place to work. And what they ordered is not available yet. But that's what's going on. So you'll see some more movement there here shortly, but they're not leasing anything because they didn't want to put a tenant in a bad spot. Audie's talked enough. He said it. Audie.
Who said that?
Rudy.
Sorry, Rudy.
I just wanna ask you, how the hell you get on that paving crew, but they sure don't need your help. We got guys in here with 40 years experience, 100 drivers, 700 hours.
Well, if if they'll come and work at city pay, we can do that. I don't know that the city pay matches what you guys make, but, I don't have any idea, but we would love to have him.
Do you think you're saving money?
By paving it ourselves, the small streets we are paving ourselves. Our equipment doesn't really allow us to do any major streets.
Are the people that are gonna be paving those streets, are they gonna receive any training?
Yeah, they did last year.
What kind of training is it? ANSI certified or what kind of training?
I don't know. I can't answer that, but I can find out.
You was talking about the Southway Plaza. It's been about 6 or 8 months since Mr. Frederick started on that, and it's been probably 2 or 3 months since he's done any work. I haven't been by it for the last 2 weeks, so
No, his track was still set.
still sitting in the same spot. And we spent about, I think roughly, give or take, $120,000 to have that fixed. Do you know when that's gonna be done?
The parking lot it'll be done this summer.
I mean, we're continuing to pay
But I
him while
think-
his equipment's sitting there not doing nothing.
No, we haven't.
It's on the budget. It's on the Board of Works invoices that we just paid him for work at the Southway Plaza last month.
We did 2 months ago, yeah, and he did do additional work. So, but we haven't paid $140,000.
120.
But we haven't even
Give
paid
or
that
take.
much. We haven't paid that much.
Okay.
But no, he only gets paid when he's working. In fact, I mentioned it to the city engineer the other day, and I said, he's got to finish that. That needs to be done before these guys get here next week.
I know most contractors we work for, as laborers and operators and stuff, if we leave a project like that overnight, usually the cities are raising hell with us to get it cleaned up. Why can the city allow this man to do this work and let his equipment sit down there and be broke down or whatever for 6 months and allow it to be like that, but yet the contractors we work for here in Muncie, if we're using a quickie saw without water, they're calling us up saying, you gotta quit that because it's not
Well,
OSHA approved. I understand that.
Each job site has a time frame, Bobby. But when he's talking about Fredericks, when they toured the building downtown, there was dust flying everywhere, which it's hard to tell what's in the dust, but usually a demolition contractor keeps water on the project. That way the dust and the silica and
Yep.
possibly asbestos not flying through there. I was down at the bank and it was just rolling.
Yeah. And we did mention that to him.
I didn't know
Because
if
we
there
could
was-
see it from our windows.
Is there an overseer of construction projects in the city?
That would be the city engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be the city engineer.
That gives us a little oversight that, hey, if they're doing this wrong or possibly, harming the public or what have you.
We have money set aside, Audie, to do that, but he only gets paid as he does it.
I understand, but it's been sitting down there. It's on the south side of Muncie, I know. If it was sitting on McGalliard, it would have been cleaned up. This is the south side of Muncie. Most of us guys live on the south side of Muncie. We see that shit every day, and it's still the same way it's looked for 6 months and nothing's been touched on it.
Well, I don't agree with you on the 6 months, but I'm not pleased with the progress either. But I do know they are a smaller company, and they've done a lot of other demolition of properties in that time frame. The problem is there's no way to fix the building till that HVAC gets in.
I'm not talking about the building.
I know.
I'm talking
but
about the parking lot.
I'm saying, I understand, but it's all tied together. So if we can have him demo properties that then can help a neighborhood and help other people, rather than demo the parking lot so that it's ready, but just sits there because they can't do anything with the HVAC, we're not as pressured on it as time-wise, once we found out there's no HVAC.
Well, I understand
So
that,
that- so
but we got
I'm just
we got a
explaining, you
mud
don't have
hole
to
out
agree
there,
with me.
and if
I
this
just
mud
think
hole was
that's
over
why
on
we did it.
McGalliard at the Muncie Mall, it would have done been fixed, it would have been cleaned up, and grass seed would have been planted. This is on the south side of Muncie, and it's a mud hole, and it's been there for quite a while.
It's been there for
So.
3 weeks.
Is there any more questions for the mayor? We have several other politicians here tonight. Go ahead,
I
Brad.
don't have a question, but I'd like to thank you for taking a pay cut from your original career, and coming to our city that you're not even from, and doing your absolute best to turn it around. Thank you, that's all.
I appreciate that. It's not, for me, it's not about the money. I love this city. We moved here by choice, and, and I'm doing everything I can to try and improve it. So thank you. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead, Charlie, one last one, while he's walking up.